Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, Libras, what is the message for Valentine's Day? But specifically, first, what's the bigger message from the universe? And it says Two of Pentacles. It says, first off, for Libra to stay like lighter energy, weigh things a little differently. We have the Hanged Man in the reverse. This is about kind of like if they're going to ask themselves, hey, what should I do? Let me do the thing that would give me the greatest outcome, the greatest positivity. Nine of Wands. Let me always ideally move toward healing, because this is the wounded warrior who is leaning toward, healing of wounds. Leo, I think this is a message about Leo's braver than they think, stronger than they think. And if Leo's going to, sorry, Libra, forgive me. I keep wanting to call you Leo. I just did a Leo video, so please forgive my, misspoken wording here. But this is a Libra video. We do have Pisces energy coming in. But it says for Libra to weigh things, which is great because, Libras are great at weighing the scales. But if they're going to land on, a decision or thought process, it says always ideally land on the thought process that will help us to seek healing. And sometimes it's nice to give ourselves a break from things also, because this can be a card of like, hey, you know what, I'm actually tired right now. Maybe part of my healing is to let myself, take the breathers and move forward at the pace that I can, not the pace that I'm trying to set for myself, but allow myself some grace. We have King of Swords upright. I think there is a lot of gentleness that the universe is sending to our Libra right now, and encouragement to say, and maybe this is also for Libra to think about things. I don't know if Libra has been dealing with a fellow air sign, a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius, possibly masculine since we have the king. But weighing it and saying, look, if I were to put myself in someone else's shoes and they're still in the process of healing, then for goodness sakes, I hope they do what is right for themselves. If it's resting and taking care of their needs, awesome. I hope that they do that. I don't want to, attempt to lean, and expect or feel sad if I don't hear from somebody, because maybe they're doing just what they need to do. So you do you, I do me, give myself grace, same grace to others. You do the thing that is going to help you the most. Because if we assume, and I think we rightly assume, that all humans are scarred in some way, we are resilient yet fragile beings, and we get hurt along the way, and we can only do so much, and we never know. We got the moon card. We never know what hidden wounds other people have, and sometimes we don't even know what hidden wounds we have. But allowing the space to say, I'm going to trust that how I feel on the, around Valentine's Day is, if I want to withdraw or if I want to reach out to somebody, I'll listen to what I really feel like I need to do. But also, if I reach out to somebody and I don't hear back from them, I'm going to trust this because they have to deal with what they have to deal with. Or if somebody reaches out to me or does not, I'm going to trust it's because, although I don't know where they're at, that's the whole point. They're probably doing the best they can. They're doing what they need to for who they are at the moment. And I think maybe that's not just a great, message for, the universe to promote during, Valentine's Day, but maybe just in general, because talk about like helping us to manage, expectations and fears and worries and desires all at once. That's really going to help manage things and be like, look, we're all just doing what we can do when we can do it. That's the most we can do. Okay, that being said, around Valentine's Day, what do we have for Libra? And it says, Libra, there is somebody who wants to start something. They've been thinking about Libra for a while. They could be a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius with that Page of Swords. Page of Coins in the Sun. They could be a Leo. It could be an earth sign. But this says to take this Valentine's Day with a much more lighthearted approach in general. Look at it as fun, especially if there's I don't know, somewhere around about this Valentine's Day, we could have a brand new start with somebody that is just going to be happy and excited to chit chat with Libra. It may be a brand new beginning. So we put less emphasis on like heavy duty romance and more emphasis on the lighthearted. The pages are our first little step toward communication. The sun is, like just a breakthrough of like, gosh, it's so nice to talk to you. I feel like Libra could have a really lovely and lighthearted energy if they first preface it with this energy of saying, I'm not going to get tangled up one way or the other about how things go. But then it says that's a great mindset to be in, because it does look like we have a new little beginning that is, popping up, cropping up seemingly out of nowhere. We have a 4 of Cups, and it is sideways. This says not to get our hearts set on like, and overemphasize, oh my God, Valentine's Day has to be the most important day for love. And if it doesn't work out this way, then it's going to be devastating. This says, no, don't look at anything as, I have this expectation and it has to be met. Otherwise, it's going to be devastating. This says lots of things in life turn out to be illusions because we over amplify them and then it's a letdown. On the other hand, things that we don't expect a whole lot from can sometimes delight and dazzle us. But this just says to manage expectations and enjoy the first little steps toward what something could evolve into, but not have expectations set for what, especially not for what Valentine's Day is supposed to look like. There is no supposed to. It feels like somebody's going to be trying to build something, but it's the first couple baby steps with Libra. Maybe it's going to be lighthearted communication back and forth, and it's not even that Libra's going to see this person or spend a lot of time with them, or maybe somebody asks, leading up to Valentine's Day, there's a little bit of, the obvious attraction, but then nothing happens on Valentine's Day. And instead, 2 or 3 days later, somebody, reaches out, and that's maybe the first step toward, talking, seeing what could happen, seeing if there's some kind of, look, there's a potential here, right? Because in life, there's potential at all points in time. Something new could always become one of the most important things in our life, or it could be but a moment. We don't know until we build. This kind of feels like that energy of don't make it so highly anticipated. Let it play out the way it does. Enjoy the journey. But okay, let's be honest. We suddenly, with all of those caveats, we do have a very serious energy with the Emperor here. Libra, is somebody going to get, start slow and then like ramp up really fast into like, oh my God, this person could be somebody very serious? King of Pentacles sideways. Again, I think this is Libra trying to manage their expectations of, it's not even a wobbly first couple steps in the right direction. It's like, oh wow, this is nice. I'm kind of talking to this person. They're reaching out to me. We're communicating back and forth a little bit. It feels very light at first. It then takes a dip. Like, I don't know if this is going to turn into anything. I don't even want to feel like it's a disappointment. And then all of a sudden, instead, it turns around and it starts to like lock in and start to get meaningful. This could be after Valentine's Day. This could be somewhere, within this next span of like a week or something. But again, it's the reminder, but I don't want to go buck wild and start thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be so perfect. I want to keep my expectations very manageable. This is still too new, too delicate. Is that Taylor Swift? Isn't it delicate? Is it cool that I said all that? But it's delicate. It definitely feels like this is a weird, maybe I shouldn't use the word weird, but it could be like I'm stepping forward and stepping back a bit. I'm saying things are really meaningful, but then I'm cooling it down a bit. It feels like everyone's a little bit like giving time for processing. I don't feel like this is game playing. I feel like there's meaning, and then there's also like Now let it set, let it gel. And then there's, action taken and then let it set, let it gel. And if we think about it, you know how many things in life go that way? Think about like exercise. You can, push yourself and you're working on your endurance and then you push yourself to the max. Sorry, I'm hearing that song, Going to the Max. And then we have a rest and recovery day or, couple days. And then we go back to the gym and we work out again. And then we have some rest and recovery days. Or think about, lots of things in life. If you're baking bread, you get the dough started and you knead it and then you let it sit and it rises. You punch it down and then you knead it again, or you start to shape it and then you let it rise again. There's a reason that things have to have processes. There's a reason we put in more S's in words. It's to really put emphasis on them. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm being silly over here, but it's just that we have at least 2 delays here, as Libra and this person might be, there's strong masculine energy, but then the masculine moves forward and then kind of backs off a little. I don't think that there's game playing. I think there's letting it set, letting it rest. Maybe they know that Libra needs to go at a pace like this. Fool and the 7 of Swords. Now, they might also be wondering, am I lying to myself thinking that, the energy that I'm putting in is really wanted? It could be that they're kind of scared to just jump all in, and maybe they haven't wanted to admit that. It's crazy because this storyline is about who knows what could happen. This is starting out really slow, but it's really good. It's really exciting. And then probably it's not much, but wait, no, it's really important. But let's back off and let's cool it down. And then we're at that point where it's like, either this is going to be amazing or I'm full of crap and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I've been lying to myself about this. Is this a masculine who is going to be like pushing down on the gas pedal, then letting off and coasting, and then pushing on the gas pedal and then almost braking and slowing down it would be awful to be on the highway and have somebody driving like that, right? Oh, they were doing 65. Then they slowed it down, like they stopped accelerating and keeping a pace, and they just started coasting at about 50. And then pretty soon it was 40, but then they picked back up and they went 75. And then they actually pumped the brakes and they took it down to 20. And now I don't know what the hell they're doing. That is the way this feels. But maybe this is Libra's energy as well. It's like, I'm not sure what we're doing yet. I don't love the constant accelerating and deaccelerating, because this is starting to look a little crazy. At first I was like, oh, that makes sense. But now maybe that's why the universe started out by saying, maybe Libra is the one doing this too, because they did have the Hanged Man. I'm weighing stuff. I'm not sure what it all means. I get it. People have scars and then that slows them down, even though they want something. But then, I don't really know what they're thinking. They don't really know what I'm thinking. It feels tentative, and maybe Libra's the one giving the same tentative, scarred, I want to do this, but then I don't want to get my hopes up. And maybe this isn't something for me to put my energy toward. But then I do want to try this because I don't want to let it slip away if it's great, but maybe I'm tripping. It feels like maybe Libra's doing it too. It certainly feels like they're doing it. I don't know. 10 of Wands. There is a need to stop. If 2 people are bogging things down, or even if just one person is bogging it down, the key here is to stop worrying about what does the other person want and just say, what is it that I want? Let me at least aim for that. And then I can be certain about what I want to do without fear and reservation and worries about looking foolish. There's a certain amount of, I'm going to say, like, bravery that it takes to honestly say, hey, this is me. This is what I want. This is how I feel about you. And then accept maybe the person's going to reject us. It does require a certain amount of bravery to do that. But I also think it's when we're the most powerful, is when we actually say, look, I don't know how you feel, but this is how I feel. This is my motive. This is what I'd like to see happen. And I want to put my effort into something because I'd like this to go somewhere. And I feel like somebody has to get to that point. Now, is it Libra or is it them? Hierophant in the reverse Chariot upright. When I say, is it Libra or is it them? Well, neither one of these cards is Libra. We have a Cancerian, we have a Taurus. So I'm going to say it's probably them who needs to figure this out. If they really don't have any strong convictions about what they want, then maybe they should leave Libra alone. On the other hand, if they're like, I just don't know what Libra wants, maybe they need to go ask Libra and find that out. Or they certainly need to stop freaking out. Maybe they're not ready for anything, though. I don't know. We have Justice. There's our Libra. I do think in this storyline, if they were governed first by, let me not do Libra wrong, let me make sure that I don't mess with my Libra, using that strategy might simplify. I have no business being wishy-washy with another person, because that could throw them off, and I don't want to hurt anybody else's heart. So let me think about this. I need to treat somebody with consistency. Imagine if we had a boss and we were trying to go to work every day, but we show up and sometimes the boss isn't there. They don't open the business, and customers are lined up and we're lined up outside, and the boss just casually strolls in 6 hours late. And then it's like, hey, aren't you guys working today? And it's like, well, we were here when we opened at 7 a.m., but you didn't show up, so we couldn't do our jobs. So what's going to happen with our paychecks? People would quit. Businesses will go under. People won't keep patronizing the businesses. You're going to destroy the business. Same behavior. If you're this hot and cold, back and forth, even though it's understandable that somebody might be nervous and they have their own scars, it does say at some point you have to commit to a lane and say, I'm going to be open these hours, going to make sure that my clientele knows it, and make sure that my, the people, participating in my business know it also. Otherwise, I'm going to lose those individuals because I'm not being consistent. And sure enough, to have that Justice card there, it's, they're going to lose Libra. Okay, this might explain more, though. This is somebody who has a really strong pull toward Libra, and maybe that's why they're shorting out, because it's like I want Libra so much, and then I'm kind of freaking out, and I want to withdraw, but then I want to run toward them, but then it's almost like they're being overwhelmed. So that's maybe what this whole story is about, and maybe that's why the first messages here were Libra doesn't know what's going on with this person and their back and forth behavior and their non-committal behavior, but it might be because they're sparking out, because there's actually a really, really powerful desire to be with Libra, and it's almost freaking them out. Granted, they still have to get grounded. What is the best message for Libra in this? 9 of Swords. For Libra to put themselves in the same shoes and say, am I freaking out? If I am, then maybe it makes sense that they are too. Maybe we're both in the same exact spot. We've had the Hanged Man twice. We've had the 9 of Swords twice. Or I'm sorry, we had 9 of Wands, and now we have 9 of Swords. But it does say to understand that maybe we're all just doing the best we can. 6 of Wands sideways. Maybe nobody feels 100% confident in this. So to be more gentle. Otherwise, we could get fed up and walk away. Instead, look, this is not so that Libra gets strung along by somebody who's indecisive, but it does say if Libra is actually in the same exact boat as another person, where it's like, well, I don't feel that confident, so hang on. Is it because of their behavior, or is it that I just personally am in the same exact spot? We all have our history. We all have our fears. What if 2 people want each other equally, but are both scared of the same thing? Like, I'm just not super confident at the moment. Then 2 people who actually care about each other might blow this thing unless they can both get in each other's headspace just a bit. Final message is Ace of Cups sideways. As hard as it is, it does suggest building trust and love, or the confidence that somebody else loves us. It takes time. So as wobbly as this seems to be going, it kind of hints that if there is desire to see where this goes, it says be patient and keep putting in some effort, even though it could be a wobbly, like drunken lurch toward the finish line here. It could still work. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Bye.